Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. And this is my performance review of the Li-Ning Sonic 9. So this shoe is available on Amazon and it's going for very cheap. The most expensive price that I saw was like $105 or like $107, which is a weird price. And the cheapest one that I saw is $90. So it all depends on the colorway and the size that you get from Amazon, which is really weird. But if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description box. But let's get started right off with the tracciones. As far as the traction pattern goes, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the WOW 9 traction pattern, I believe it was, with like dots that are connected to each other. And here in the forefoot, it's pretty cool. It says Sonic, and then here in the heel there is a 9. And then in the middle of the outsole we have the Li-Ning logo. So as far as the traction pattern goes, so if you're playing on a clean court, it should be fine. It has a loud squeak and you have a really good bite. But on dust, it's not the best. So I'm usually playing on a dusty court. I mean, 24-hour fitness, really dirty usually, right? So when I'm playing the Sonic 9 just on a dusty court, so when I wipe, right, it has like a few good stops and then it picks up dust again pretty quickly. So if you don't like wiping, then probably you shouldn't get this shoe just because you have to wipe a good amount. But a good thing about it is that if you're playing on a dusty court though, it never slips out and the bite wasn't really like terrible, right? Like if you're playing on a dusty court and dust kind of builds up, you just slide just a tiny bit, just a little bit. It was never terrible, but of course, if you want total responsiveness, then the bite's not that good, right? So I mean, that's a good thing, I guess. So if you don't need like a really good bite, then you should be fine. But if you want a really good bite and you're playing on a dusty court, just remember you're gonna have to wipe a lot just because it picks up dust very quickly. As far as the durability goes, of course, Li-Ning and most Chinese companies usually put very durable outsoles on their basketball shoes. And here on the Sonic 9, it seems like it's no exception. You know, the rubber's super hard, the grooves are deep. So outdoor use, you should be fine with the Sonic 9. So as far as the overall performance of the Sonic 9 goes for traction, it was alright. You know, like I said, I'm playing on dust usually and I had to wipe a lot to get a good bite, so that was really annoying. But you know, on cleaner days it was a lot more consistent, a lot more fun to play in. Alright, moving on to the heel to toe transition. So here in the heel we have a nice curved shape. As you guys can see, it is caged here in the back of the heel as far as the cushion goes, but here on the sides, on both the lateral and medial side, it's pretty much fully exposed, so it feels pretty nice and smooth in the heel, not really clunky at all. And then here in the forefoot we have a very nice curved shape. Look at that, super nice. As far as the forefoot flex goes, it's pretty nice, but the flex is hindered by this plastic shank plate here a little bit. As you guys can see, it doesn't allow the forefoot to bend as much, but it's still pretty flexible here in the forefoot. So for the most part, heel to toe transition is very smooth when you're running down the court. Alright, moving on to the cushioning setup, we got full length light foam. And light foam is pretty nice. You know, it's called light foam, but it's not that light. You know, in most cases, just from my experience, all the shoes that have light foam are not light. You know what I mean? And as far as the materials go, it's not super like bulky. It doesn't feel like a lot of the weight comes from the materials, but we'll get into materials. But anyways, light foam is usually just soft and not a whole lot of bounce back. There's a little bit of bounce back, but usually it's just soft and there's a good amount of compression, right? So that's basically what it feels like here in the Sonic 9. So court feel is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best. Here in the forefoot, it's low to the ground. Here in the heel, gets a little bit higher up, but still court feel is pretty good. And then, like I mentioned before, we have this cage, right? So this external TPU heel counter cages the back of the heel here. So it doesn't really compress at all at the back of the heel, but here on the sides, it compresses a good amount, right? And it does feel nice. You definitely feel the compression, like when you're doing heel strikes and also when you're running down the court doing heel dominant strikes, you definitely feel like the compression and the softness of the overall light foam midsole. So that definitely does feel good. Impact protection overall is very nice. You know, like I said, heel strikes, you'll be good to go. Here in the forefoot, it's a little bit more dead, but your forefoot doesn't really hurt that much. And also another thing that I like about the cushioning setup is that the insole is very nice, right? So first of all, the insole is nice and plush, right? There is a good amount of thickness to it. And not only that, but here in the heel, we have a very nice crash pad, and that definitely does improve the stepping comfort, and it still feels just as nice as when I first got it. You know, it didn't bottom out that much. Of course, it probably will eventually bottom out, but it still feels very nice, and I like how the stepping comfort feels. And as far as the strobo board goes, the strobo board is quite soft as well. So you can definitely feel a little bit of the light foam underneath the insole. So yeah, overall cushioning setup is very nice. You know, it's soft, it's comfortable, you get good compression, impact protection is great, and also you get good court feel. But there isn't like a nice bounce or rebound back, but that's okay. For the most part, it's a very nice cushioning setup, and I feel like it overall does everything very, very well. Alright, moving on to the materials. So here in the forefoot, we have kind of like a textile material. And around the toe box, we have a fused material for extra added durability and support. Overall, it's very, very nice quality for 105 bucks. Like, look at this. You know, Nike and Adidas is giving us like shit mesh. You know what I mean? It feels very cheap and very flimsy. For example, like the PG5, right? But here in the Sonic 9, it actually feels quite nice, and it feels comfortable on foot. It's thin, it conforms to your foot very well. And then coming here into the midfoot, we have more of like a, I don't know, it looks like a mesh material, but it kind of feels a little bit stiffer, you know, just because it feels like it's a little bit glued down maybe, but it's still like pretty soft, as you guys can see, look at that, and pretty thin as well. And then here in the ankle area, we have a singular Achilles pad. That feels pretty nice. It does improve the comfort here in the back of the heel. And then on the sides, we have a little bit of foam as well. I also like the lining material. The lining material is like a very nice like textile material, I would say. It's probably made of like a polyester, and definitely doesn't feel cheap at all. And then around the outside of the ankle area, we have like a synthetic leather material with a little bit of padding. So overall, it feels great on foot. It's still supportive, you know, there's not a whole lot of stretch to the material, and the quality is super nice. Of course, for the strap, I mean, it doesn't really do a whole lot in my opinion as far as lockdown goes and as far as functionality goes. You can tighten the strap around your foot a little bit, you know, like if I really crank it down, I can feel it a little bit like on top of my foot in the midfoot, but like laces already do that. You know what I mean? I don't think it adds that much lockdown. So just in my opinion, I don't think it added that much function into the shoe, but you know, I don't mind it all too much just because it's a super thin strap, right? Like for example, in like the Kyrie 6 or the Zoom Free 3, the strap is like, it's a very thick plastic, adds a little bit of bulk and a little bit of weight and stuff like that, right? And when you're tying the shoe, it kind of like flaps over on itself, and it's annoying to tie the shoe. But here in the Sonic 9, it stays like this, so you can tie the shoe very easily. Like I said, it's super thin and very lightweight, so it doesn't add a whole lot of bulk. So I don't really mind the strap all too much, and the materials feel nice. So overall, I really like the materials, especially for the price. All right, moving on to the fit. So the fit was very bad for me, right? And of course, that's just a me problem. You know, it's just in my opinion. It doesn't make the shoe bad or anything. It's just the fit for me was very roomy here in the toe box, right? So I went true to size, and I feel like there is a little bit of length. So maybe if I went down half a size, it would be a little bit more snug here in the toe box, but I still don't think that would make me like the shoe that much more, just because here in the toe box, it's super freaking roomy, right? And I can curl my toes up, no problem. And in my personal preference, I like to have a very snug fit in my basketball shoes, you know, for example, in like the KD13, KD14, stuff like that, right? So here in the Sonic 9, I didn't really like that. As far as the width goes, I would say it's a little wide. So when I was playing in it, it's just annoying, you know what I mean? Like, apart from traction, like traction is the most important thing for me in a basketball shoe, right? I need good traction. And then after that, I need a really good fit, just because I like to have a very snug fit, and I don't really like my foot moving around inside of the shoe, and it just feels a little sloppy, especially if it's roomy here in the toe box for me personally. So it was not good for me. So if you have a wide foot or you have a thick foot, you should be fine here in the Sonic 9. If you have a skinny foot or you want a snug fit, you should probably stay away from the shoe. Alright, moving on to the support and lockdown. So for lateral containment, you're going to be good to go. So here in the forefoot, we have this plastic piece like I mentioned. So it's going to act as a lateral counter. Your foot is not going to be going anywhere. Here in the midfoot, we have the foam coming up acting as a sidewall. We have, I guess, a strap a little bit. It doesn't really add too much support, I don't think. And then here in the heel, we have an external TPU heel counter. So lateral containment, you're gonna be good to go. And as far as lateral stability goes, you're gonna be good to go as well. So we do have a very low and wide base, as you guys can see. There's not a crazy outrigger, like the outsole doesn't protrude out that much, but it is a wide base, so you should be good to go for lateral stability. And also, I really do like the high heel tab, which makes the shoe super easy to put on. So support and lockdown should be fine. And also, like I mentioned before, the material is a very supportive material, so if you need a lot of support in the shoe, you should be fine here in the Sonic 9. Alright, as far as the weight goes, I don't know, like I said, the light foam isn't light. I'm guessing like 13 ounces, 12 and a half ounces, 13.23 ounces. Let's check the other pair. 13.3 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12 and a half ounces. So 13.3, not super heavy, but also of course it's not light. As far as the weight goes, I wasn't really concerned about the weight. You know, it didn't feel heavy or anything. It didn't feel that bulky either. I guess besides here in the heel, it kind of like protrudes out in the back of the heel, as you guys can see. So it feels a little bit chonky here, but not too much. So I did like the overall feeling of the shoe and like how it felt on foot. It's just I didn't like the fit, right? So, and also I guess it is a responsive shoe as well. You know, if you're playing on a clean court, you should feel very quick. As far as the aesthetics go, I like it. You know, the design looks great. I also really like this colorway, you know, this like light purple with a camo on the upper. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, it's a great performer, especially for the price, but I don't like it just because of the fit. And like I said, that's just in my opinion. You know, I feel like if the shoe fits you well, a lot of people are gonna like the shoe. Like I said, traction's good. If you don't mind wiping a lot on a dusty setting. Cushion is nice, you know, overall it does everything very well. Materials feel great, especially for the price. Support and lockdown is really good too. So yeah, the Sonic 9 is a solid choice, but just remember the fit. So anyways, that about wraps up my performance review of the Li-Ning Sonic 9. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.